on a cloudy and cool Tuesday morning. Back home in Rocky River, Adam the Bull with you in the bullpen. Brought to you by BetRivers. You got to be using the BetRivers app. Check out all the Betting Weekly shows, including Betting Weekly Hardball, which I'll be on today at 2 with Doug Kazarian. You should be doing all your gambling right here at BetRivers on all sports. And you're missing out. You're really missing out. We got some cool things going on. I'll tell you more about it later. So check out the website. Check out the app. And baseball, football, basketball, tennis, soccer, whatever you need, we got you covered at BetRivers. I'll tell you, I'm going to get into some of these wackadoodle trade rumors involving the Browns, involving the Cavs in just a second. But I went this weekend. I left Friday and got back yesterday. I went to New York, the New York, New Jersey area for the weekend, which most of you know is where I'm originally from. And I say originally from, and I don't call it home anymore. I don't. It really just happened in the last few years. I stopped referring to New York as home because it's not my home. This is my home. And it's funny because when I was a kid growing up in Brooklyn, I could never, if you had told me when I was my son's age, which is 12, that I would live, whether it's Ohio or anywhere else, if you would have told me I live in Long Island or New Jersey, I would have said you were crazy, let alone a state not connected to New York. I would have never believed it. I thought, everything was Brooklyn. And while I still have love for where I was born and raised, and I still have love for some people there, every time I go to New York, New Jersey to visit, it cements the fact that I don't want to move back there. When I first moved to Cleveland, I wanted to move back to New York from a career perspective because in my mind, when I was 40, my thought was you got to get, New York's the biggest market in radio. That's where you got to get. That's the goal. And over the years, the goal changed, and I have a great life here. My family has a great life here. I never have to. I was talking to because everywhere you go in New York, New Jersey, you're always worried about traffic, and we actually had almost no traffic the entire time. And I drove from New Jersey to Brooklyn twice, which for those who don't know, that often can be, there's a lot of different spots where you can get stuck in traffic, and I didn't for whatever reason. We went on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, a little traffic Sunday afternoon going back to my in-laws in New Jersey, but for the most part, no traffic on this trip, which was great. But every time you have a conversation with someone there, that's part of the conversation. Jeff traffic. Like, I never have those conversations here. I've never once had a conversation with anybody here in the nearly 14 years I've been living here about traffic because I never sit in traffic. And I know there is some traffic if you work traditional commuting hours, which I don't. But even that, how long it's going to take. Like, from my house, it takes me about 15 minutes to get to the studio for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And I guess if I went at commuting hours, I think it would take me like 25 minutes or whatever. But exactly the unexpected traffic or the unpredictable traffic that happens in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and of course other places, Chicago, Boston, other massive cities, it's a drain on your life. It really is. And the stress of it is awful. And my life is much easier here. I have a great life here. My family has a great life here. We were so happy. And we didn't go away for very long. I mean, we went Friday to Monday. That was it. But we were so happy to get back to Cleveland, get back to our house in Rocky River. And, I love it here. I'm a Clevelander for life now. I can't imagine I'll ever move. I mean, I guess if I retire, I might spend some time somewhere warm, but I don't know. I have no desire to ever retire. I really want to do this until I can't anymore, which I don't know how old that's going to be. But anyway, you stuck with me, folks, to the end. I'm not going anywhere. Hopefully you're happy with that. But anyway, enough of the personal diatribe. I want to get into – there's a lot of things I want to get into. I want to start with the Browns. Albert Breer, does his mailbag all the time. And Albert's obviously connected in Cleveland, very well connected in the NFL. He used to be a regular guest of ours on the Bull and Fox show, as you all know. And Albert reported that both the Browns and the Steelers have contacted the Saints about Chris Olave makes a lot of sense. Chris Olave is a young player. He's a very good player. He'll turn 25 1 month from today. And the Saints are a very bad team. Now, I'd argue the Browns are, well, not argue. I don't think I'd have to argue with anybody that the Browns are also a very bad team. I don't think it makes a lot of sense for very bad teams to trade away one of their very good players. And Chris Olave's trade value is probably down a little bit because he missed half the season last year. So, to me, trading Chris Olave makes zero sense if you're the Saints. You got him under team control for, you got him 2 more years with the 5th-year option. And then in theory, you could keep him on the franchise tag after that. So you have control if you want for at least 3, if not 4 years. Remember, the Bengals tagged T. Higgins twice. They ended up signing him this year with the second tag, but it's still possible to do. And we'll see how Chris Olave's career turns out from here going forward, the former Buckeye wide receiver. But overall, he's been very productive. Last year, again, was injured and concussions, and he missed half the season. But his rookie year, he had 1,040 yards and 4 touchdowns, 23. He had, in 16 games, he had 1,123 yards and 5 touchdowns on a not particularly good team. And so this guy's a really good player. So, yeah, smart for the Browns to make a phone call. Chris Olave would be a great addition to the Browns. You could argue in the long term he could end up being their best receiver, even better than Jerry Jeudy. We'll see. I like Chris Olave a lot, and if the Browns can find a way to get him, yeah, more power to him. The problem is the Browns don't really – I don't know what the Browns are trading to get him. You made that trade. You're not going to – I'm not trading a first-round pick for him right now, even though he's probably worth it, because until the Browns' quarterback situation is solved, I'm not trading a first-round pick for a wide receiver. That doesn't make any sense. And the Browns made the trade down out of Travis Hunter's pick to get Mason Graham and to, in theory, have ammunition to get a quarterback next year. Until that position's solved, I don't trade first-round picks unless it's for a quarterback. Or I have the quarterback solved and I need it for something else, fine. But the Browns are not in either of those scenarios. So I'm not trading a first-round pick. So, I know people have speculated, because we've been speculating for a while about Greg Newsome. Why would the Saints trade Chris Olave for Greg Newsome? That's insane. Think when you come up with these trade rumors, folks, you got to think be realistic with the situation. You got to think about what the other. It's like when you make a trade in fantasy sports, right? When you make a trade offer in a fantasy league, yes, obviously you want to get the better end of the deal, but you got to make it fair enough that when you look at a trade, you got to say, well, what's in it for the other team? If it's all benefiting me and there's no benefit to the other team, why would the other team accept that unless the person you're dealing with is an idiot? These things have to make sense for both sides, and Greg Newsome makes no sense. Greg Newsome is not a good the Saints, my man Max, who's one of the producers for the show, is a big Saints fan, and he said the Saints do need a corner, but if they traded Olave, then they need a wide receiver. You go with Tyler Shuck probably as your starter. I guess we'll see how it pans out, but he's probably their starter. You're going to take away his best weapon, and even though they need a corner, Greg Newsome's a free agent at the end of the year. So why would a team as bad as the Saints trade a wide receiver that you have at least 3 years of control over, who's a first-round pick, and, in the first 2 years looked like he was living up to that billing before injuries kind of damaged his season last year, for a cornerback who's fine. I mean, he's a nice player, but he's nothing special, and he's a free agent at the end of the year. And you want to say, well, they could franchise him, but is anybody really going to franchise Greg Newsome? I mean, come on. You got to think about these things, people. The Saints are not trading Chris Olave for Greg Newsome. So I just don't see a realistic path to getting Chris Olave. Again, in theory, if the Browns could get him, okay. But I'm not trading a first-round pick for him, and they're not trading a first-round pick for him. I'm not trading a second-round pick for him, honestly. Again, he's worth it. He's worth more than that. But the Browns need to hold all top ammunition for potentially trying to make a move to get a quarterback next year. It's that simple. And if the Browns are as bad as we think they're going to be, or most of us do, and if the organization is realistic about where the Browns are going to finish, well, even a second-round pick is a top 40 pick at the latest. So you have 3 picks in the top 40. That second-round pick could be as high as 32, 33 certainly. So I'm not messing around with that. So, yeah, would I love to get Chris Olave? Sure. If there's a player-for-player trade that makes sense okay. I think it's unrealistic. I don't think the Saints will trade him. If they do, I don't think the Browns are a right fit. If there was a team willing to give up a first round pick, maybe the Saints would do it. But the only team that would do that is a team that's a legit contender with a legit quarterback. I don't buy the Steelers are in that category. Right now, they don't have a quarterback. I know we've been assuming for a while it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. If I were the Steelers, I would not trade a first-round pick for Chris Olave because I don't think I can win next year. But I'd consider it more if I'm them than if I'm the Browns. Especially if it's Aaron Rodgers, because you give him Olave to go with Metcalf and with what they potentially have in the running game, and I guess you never know. If Rodgers has one more great year left in him, I guess it is possible they could be a legit contender. But realistically, as exciting as it would be for the Browns to make some sort of trade, and trust me, I'll be happy to be wrong on this one if the Browns are able to find a way to pull out a trade for Chris Olave. But it's not happening. I just don't see it. Let's see. Jared says, "Good morning, Bull. Happy Memorial Day." Yes, I was just talking about this on the Ultimate Guardian show at 8. I appreciate it, Jared. It is weird to say Happy Memorial Day. I know we think of a holiday and you want to say Happy Holiday, Happy this. Memorial Day is about those who have fought and died for the country. That's why some of the comments I saw from some people on social media were pretty disturbing yesterday. I think, for Memorial Day, you put your bad behavior and your classlessness to the side, at least for one day, and show respect to the dead and not, I don't know. Anyway, those who had the guts to do what most of us don't have the guts to do and paid the biggest price. So it's not happy. It's good that we honor those who have passed. But it's a sad day because there were a lot of people that have died, for this country that shouldn't have. That sucks. On a much lighter note, Sam with the bull emojis, thank you. Jim says Newsom can't defend, tackle, or cover. Besides that, he's fine. I mean, look, let's not get carried away, Jim. He's been a decent player. He's a flawed player. He's been a decent player. He's an okay player. But he's a third corner. Diesel says Newsom is highly replaceable, makes consistent bonehead plays. His good plays don't outweigh the bad, and his dancing is disgraceful. Trade him now so we at least get a useful player pick. I got no problem with trading Greg Newsom at all, of course. I'm just telling you, you're not getting Chris Olave with him, for him. John says we will never be a contender, just have to live with those facts. I don't believe that. I don't believe the Browns will never be a contender. They're not there right now. They haven't been there in a while. At some point, they will be again. You have to believe that to go on, don't you? So there you go. That's not happening. Let's switch gears from Browns trade rumors to Cavs trade rumors. Before we do that, obviously you got Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. After last night, the Thunder taking care of business. It certainly wasn't easy. Obviously, they dominated the first two games, and then they got destroyed in Game 3. They win last night 128 to 126. I'll be honest, I didn't watch it. I know SGA was one rebound shy from a 40-point triple-double. But it was, I wish I could have watched it because it was a good game. I just was flying back, and it was just kind of a crazy night. But so that series is now 3-1 Oklahoma City. But tonight, Knicks and Pacers, Game 4, an impressive win. The Pacers got a taste of their own medicine with the comeback by the Knicks in Game 3. Now can the Pacers do what the Cavs couldn't? Remember, the Cavs came back and won Game 3 against the Pacers and then lost and just got smoked in Game 4. Can the Knicks do it? Pacers are a 2-point favorite. You see it right there on the screen at BetRivers. The over-under 220.5. I think the Pacers are going to win tonight and ultimately win the series. But if the Knicks do win tonight, you see the Pacers are minus 230, Knicks plus 185. if the Knicks do win tonight, you got to like their chances of coming back to win the series. But that's a really big if with how Indiana's played. They have not really played two back-to-back bad games. And it's not like they got killed, obviously, in Game 3. It was a close game. So we'll see what happens tonight. But in terms of the trade rumors involving – oh, by the way, you know what? I'll get back to it. There's one other thing I heard with the Browns that I forgot to mention that I want to get back to in a minute. But before we do that, there was some I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. I apologize, but somebody that writes for The Athletic, covers the Lakers. I think his name is Jovan Buha. Anyway, they were proposed. It was asked a question of would the Cavs would of a trade rumor. Or not a trade rumor. Somebody asked him about a trade question and said, Jared Allen and DeAndre Hunter to the Lakers for LeBron James. Now, first of all, the Cavs can't. We've been through this a million times. The Cavs cannot combine salaries of players to make a trade for a higher salary player because of these crazy cap rules in the second apron. But even beyond that, the Lakers would never make that trade. And Jason Lloyd, who knows LeBron as well as anybody does in Cleveland, and nobody really knows LeBron, but he's like, LeBron's not coming back. Again, but that trade is not even possible. All these Giannis things not possible. I did see this. Now, I think this is an interesting idea. I don't know. Let's see. Hold on one second. This is from Caleb Crowley. I'll give Caleb a shout out. He writes for the website King James Gospel. Shout out to Caleb. He actually proposed a trade, and I'm not even that caught up in what the trade. So the trade he proposed, I'll give it to you. He said Jared Allen to the Kings for Jonas Valanciunas, Terrence Davis, and 3 first-round picks. Now, I have no idea how realistic this is. I know Valanciunas is old. I don't know how much he's got left in the tank. I know nothing about Terrence Davis except that he doesn't make a lot of money. So I don't know if this trade actually makes sense. I'm not, I keep it real with you. But I like where he's going in terms of this might not need to be the type of trade the Cavs have to make where they trade Jared Allen for a lesser big man in order to get some cap relief, maybe some draft picks, but more importantly, some cap relief and to possibly get him out of that second apron, which gives them some flexibility to do other things and improve other ways. I just like the thinking, so that's why I wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to Caleb. I don't know about this trade specifically, but the idea of trading Jared Allen and maybe turning him into 2 players and draft picks could lower their cap, get their cap, take them out of that second apron, but also the potential picks could lead to a trade somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So if they made a trade like this, well, now maybe they could make, again, still not likely, but now they would be able to possibly make a trade for Giannis because A, they wouldn't be in the second apron, and B, they'd have some first-round picks of value or potentially of value. And so while that specific deal might not make sense, the idea of making a trade, and you don't want to do this with Darius Garland, but I think with Jared Allen, the idea of trading him for draft picks, cap relief, and some, bench pieces could make some sense. And this might be something we explore some more here and on UCSS with, other teams that might be a match in that particular situation. I thought that was fascinating. Okay. John says, bull in the morning, bull in the evening, bull at supper time. Yeah, I got 4 shows today. I did my 8 a.m. Ultimate Guardian show. We got the 9 a.m. Bullpen. I'll be on UCSS at 11, and then we got Betting Weekly Hardball at 2 p.m. So I'm all over the place today. And we're talking about everything. Okay, I wanted to get back to the Browns here because I saw somebody, I have no idea where this originally came from. There's so much crap out there on the internet. But somebody was tweeting about the possibility of the Cavs trading. Kevin Stefanski was on my old radio station. He was on ESPN radio in Cleveland. And, when he talks about the quarterbacks, he mentions Deshaun Watson also. And so all of a sudden I started seeing things about, maybe the Browns could – somebody's like, maybe the Browns could trade Deshaun Watson for a day 2 draft pick. Let me make this very clear. There is not a team on earth that is trading for Deshaun Watson. First of all, the Browns can't really trade him anyway because of the cap hit that they would get. That's first and foremost. Number 2, there is no team in the NFL that would consider trading for Deshaun Watson, let alone give up a date. Folks, when you come up with these things, you have to, use your brain. What fucking team is going to trade a second-day anything? Forget a second-day pick. Nobody is trading anything for this. Nobody wants Deshaun Watson on their roster. Nobody. That's crazy. Preston says, whole lot of bullshit today with a laughing emoji. Yeah, it's some crazy stuff. We had to debunk all these nonsensical things. Bob says, please stop with the J.A. trades, guys. Allen is a top 10 center. He's under 30. I understand we need to make a move, but it's a bench move with Wade and Okoro that needs to happen before anything with J.A. and DG. I don't agree. And Bob, maybe you know better than me. You may turn out to be right, but I think Jared Allen is not a good fit on this team. I think they need to move on. I don't care that I don't know if he's a top 10 center or not. I don't care if he's a top 10 center. He has failed in the playoffs every time. Every time. And he's not a great player for the modern NBA. So he's just not a good fit. Let's see. Is he a top 10 center? According to PER, he is. He's number 10. I see some guys below him. I'm like, that guy's a better player? No? I don't know. Talk to McNuggets about it later. I do think it's time to move on from him. And make a trade that, in conjunction with other moves, are going to make this team better. The Cavs can't just keep running it back with essentially the same roster and making exchanges of little pieces and parts on the back end of the bench. Stop telling me about how many years Boston waited. They made significant changes to the roster outside of the top 2 players. And the top 2 players on the Cavs are Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. And the Cavs need to do the same thing. Make changes to the team, not the top 2 guys, but make other changes. And if you can't make a good deal for Darius Garland, okay. But you got to do something to change the mix. They've got to get tougher. They've got to get more physical. It's, 3 years in a row, they've shit the bed. We can't keep doing this. Jared says, who would win Pacers Thunder right now? I'd take the Thunder, but who knows? I'd take the Thunder in 6. John says, without Garland, Jared Allen disappears. He needs players to get him looks. All right, finally, I want to hit on the Guardians here. Great series against the Tigers. They take 3 out of 4. A lot of people were starting to write off the team. They did a great job over the weekend. Lose to Scooble on Sunday, but a great series for the Guardians. Lost the first one to the Dodgers yesterday at home. I know Jim earlier said he's sick of Gavin Williams. It is frustrating, but Gavin Williams overall pitched well in the month of May. That was a frustrating performance. Too many walks. He nibbles too much. He's got to attack the strike zone more, especially when it's not non-elite hitters. And you can't throw a first-pitch fastball to Shohei Ohtani to start the game. I mean, you can't do that. He's looking for that on the first. This is poor decision-making by Gavin Williams there. He can't do that. He's making too many mistakes. Jim, I know you're frustrated by Gavin Williams. There's more good than bad, but I get the frustration. I really do. Halim says Gavin has to work on his command. Jared, would you go as far to say as the Guards own the Tigers? I would not, but it was an impressive series. Jim says hopefully the Guards appreciate what Ben Lively has given them now 2 years in a row. Ben Lively has the 14th best ERA for any pitcher that's made at least 38 starts the last 2 years. Zach Meisel gave me that stat earlier, and I was blown away. Yeah, the guy's been a solid contributor. He's having surgery. He's done for the year. Done for the year. It's disappointing. So, it is frustrating that Lively's gone. It's frustrating that Gavin Williams is up and down. But, listen, the American League is totally up for grabs. The Yankees are playing well. The Tigers have been the best team, but you just took 3 out of 4 from the Tigers. Tough series now with the Dodgers. As Sam said, Yamamoto was tough. Jose Ramirez, 19-game hitting streak. I don't think there's been a hitting streak longer than 26, I want to say, this decade. I think I'm going to have to double-check that. So we'll see. I think if Jose gets to 25 with this hitting streak, there'll be some buzz starting to pop up on this. And it's time to call up C.J. Kafis, who's been killing it at Columbus. And it was good to see Chase DeLauder get back and hit his first home run. Guardians start today's action. Tied for second in the American League Central. They're 5 games behind Detroit. They are a wild card team right now. So for all the complaining, the Guardians would be in the playoffs right now if the season ended. So only the Tigers, Yankees, and Mariners have a better record, and the Mariners are only a half game better. So you can complain all you want, and they haven't been always fun to watch, but only the Tigers and Yankees have done better than the Guardians, really. Again, Mariners a half game better in terms of the standings, but it's essentially the same. No update on John Means, Jim. I haven't heard anything on him for a while. I don't know if he's going to pitch at all this year. Maybe very late. Bieber is throwing in the minors already. I think we could see him around the All-Star break, which would be very exciting. I'd love to see him back, and I think if he's able to come back around the All-Star break, and we will see David Fry probably in 2 weeks. But if Bieber's able to come back to the All-Star break, I think it really takes a lot of pressure off the other guys in the rotation. Having the seasoned vet makes a big difference. Tanner Bybee, his best start of the year last time out. He'll be on the hill today in Cleveland against the Dodgers. Dustin May is the opposition. And then tomorrow, Slade Ciccone, who I was not high on coming into the year, and he's pitched really well in his first 2 Guardian starts. What's with my mic? There we go. He's going to pitch tomorrow against the veteran future Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw. Then the Angels come to town, and then the Guardians go to the Yankees before another 6-game homestand. So some tough pitchers you facing. Dustin May's solid. Clayton Kershaw, he's old at this point, but he's still Clayton Kershaw. You'll face Carlos Rodon in New York. You'll face Max Fried in New York, Framber Valdez when the Astros come to town, assuming everything holds. So some good pitchers coming up that the Guardians will have to deal with. All right, thanks to everybody for joining me today. Appreciate you as always. Make sure you check out the Betting Weekly Hardball. Be coming your way with me and Doug Kazarian at 2 o'clock today. I'll be on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show with G. Bush and Tyvis in an hour and a half. And then we got a Little League game tonight. Get back on the field. It's been a week since the Rocky River Danny Boys Little League team has played a game. We're looking to get back in the win column after a couple of losses last week. All right. Thanks to Max and Z for producing. Thanks to all of you for watching and listening. Love you all. Have a good day, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. Where else but right here in the Bullpen with Adam the Bull. Brought to you by BetRivers. See you, everybody.